कृष्णाय नमो नमः। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णकृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिधि नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम राम। Somebody like to summarize last week's class? Then I will go ahead.
Himlata Mataji, do you want to speak? Okay, so 101 shloka. One who turns away from performing pious activities, such a person is described as a fool. That person is unfortunate after having obtained this karma bhumi, in Bharatvarsh, who does not perform any austerity. Then you yourself mentioned about three examples: that vessel which is made up of Vaidurya stone using sandalwood as firewood for cooking, but what that person is cooking is just some sesame seed. Then one is other example is to plant seeds of orchid tree. A person is toiling, plowing the land, and that plow is made up of gold. This means that a less intelligent person, he engages in something too insignificant work using gold like rare human form of life. Such a person is mandabhagya. Third one is that fence which is made up of camphor tree wood, which is easily extinguishable by sunlight also. He's trying to protect useless kodrava tree. And then you also spoke about how devtas are glorifying birth in Bharatvash. Then a person who has temporary material body also fixes his mind on Lord Shri Krishna, giving up his impious activities. That person will be blessed with Vaikuntha abode. Then Brahma Lok should be also not accepted as residents if they do not discuss about Krishna, Shri Hari's pastime, or devotees, or festivals, or Sankirtan. Then the people who are endowed with proper senses, taking birth in Bharatvarsha, they should endeavor for bhakti yoga. Such a soul will not get bound up. Okay, and if they do not perform bhakti yoga, then he gets bound up again. And the example given was about the birds getting caught by a hunter. Fortunately, they escape, but the inattentive birds, careless in freedom, they again get caught up. So if we have done some pious activities which is remaining in our life, then may those credits give us birth in Bharatvarsha. It give us remembrance of Lord, and since Lord will distribute his mercy to all. So in this shloka, three things I emphasize: human birth, birth in Bharatvarsha, remembrance of Lord, and performing tapasya. Then yourself spoke about what Rishabh Dev speaks about: performing transcendental tapasya for spiritual happiness, which is unlimited in nature. So then the significance of human life, where it is compared with the boat, the person who's obtained a suitable boat of human life, obtained spiritual master, suitable spiritual master, and who's in contact with Shastras. If he does not utilize the human form of life, then he's the killer of his own soul. Then who's a cheater and envious of himself. So one who performs fruitive activities and do not use this human form of life for liberation and tapasya. 102nd shloka, that whatever is according to our destiny is supposed to happen, or past karma will happen. So here deva is emphasized, and then wherever you go, like it may be ocean or a place of your choice or remote distance, or but the consequential fruits of good and bad deeds of your past birth will not leave that person, because it will follow like a shadow. And Then if you connect this to bhakti yoga, then whatever will interfere in this karma of a person is a mercy of a devotee. So then yourself spoke about demigods and a sadhu, how a sadhu can interfere with the karma of a person, because like the devtas, when they deviate, they are subjected to punishment, and they are attendants of karma. So when a person worships a devta, then devtas, they will award the worshipper just in proportion to a person's karma. And like just like the image in a shadow is exactly in correspondence to the person's image, neither more or less. So they, though we agree that they are powerful than human beings, but they are still servants of Bhagwan. And how sadhus can interfere with a person's karma. The example is of Narad Muni. By his potent preaching, he can interfere with karma of a living entity by persuading the living entity to give up mental speculation, fruitive activities, and surrender to Lord Vishnu. And then Brahmaji speaks in Brahma Samhita that prayers were quoted, how bhakti destroys seeds of karma, destroys fruits of karma. 103rd shloka speaks about past piety. That person who has heaps of piety from past, a beautiful city can emanate in a dense forest. All people will turn out to be friends and relatives. Entire world will be excellent treasure fortune. And yourself spoke about Chaitanya Charitamrita verse. That person who has obtained the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this material world is a place of misery. It becomes a world full of happiness. And I think you had mentioned some time back about that calf's hooves, water contained in material world appears like a, is it right to quote that as well? It appears as water contained in the hoof prints of a calf.
Yes.
And then 104th shloka was association, sadhus, devotees. Like, what is the gain? Sadhus, devotees with good qualities and virtues, that is the gain. And what is the loss? If that there's a because you are inviting trouble if one associates with fools, you're wasting time. That is also a loss. Then letting slip of an opportunity. Then Chanakya Pandit, you had spoken about how one moment can not get back spending crores of rupees. Then Pururava, that with Urvashi, how he laments. Then the Bhava Bhakti, you had spoken about how one must not avyartha kalatvam. Then what is an all the yaksha prashna you had discussed about what is dharma, what is moha, what is expertise, what is alasya, what is right valiant, who's a valiant person, one who subdued his senses, that is a valiant person, and who's like two kinds of heroes. The living entity who's a victim of illusory energy, and another one is a Goswami. And what is the real wealth, Vidya? Then who's a faithful wife? What is happiness? And then yourself spoke about what is actual kingdom, power to command. People who are ready to execute the command is actually loyalty. Then 105th shloka, earth is decorated very sparsely by four qualities. And these four qualities are: one who does not speak harsh words. He has the wealth of sweet, good speech, pleasing austerity of speech, I think, yeah. One who is satisfied with his own wife and averse to fault finding tendencies. Okay.
Hare
Yeah, I
Krishna.
think.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for summarizing last week's class. So we have discussed till the 105th shloka. We'll take up the last 5 shlokas. Last 5 shlokas. कदर्तितस्यापि हि धैर्यवृत्तेर्न शक्यते dhairya gunaha pramarshtum adho mukasyapi kritasya vanher vanher nadah shika yati kadachideva. One second. Let me just check if there is a small mistake in that. कदर्ति तस्यापि हि धैर्यवृत्तेर् न शक्यते धैर्यगुणः प्रमार्ष्टुम् अधो मुखस्यापि कृतस्य वह्नेर्नादः. Small mistake in that. वह्नेर्नादः शिखा याति कदाचिदेव. What is the meaning of the shloka? So this shloka, the theme of the shloka is that धीरस्य धैर्यच्युतिर् न कदापि संभवति इति सोदाहरणं दर्शयति. धीरस्य धैर्यच्युतिर्. For a dhira purusha, he never actually falls down from his dhairyatva, from his dhiratva, from his dhairyatva. Or a dhira purusha never actually falls down from his position of equanimity. That is explained with the help of an example. What is the anvaya of the shloka? Kadartitasya api. Kadartitasya. Kadartitasya means what? Kadartitasya means santrasitasya. That means when he is going through very difficult phase in his life. Durdarsha grastasya. Durdarsha, very difficult phase. Durdarsha grastasya. When he is captured by a very difficult phase in his life. Or kadarti tasyapi, that means even during the most difficult phase, when he is struggling because of the difficult phase, kadarti tasyapi dhairya vrittehe, that means that person who is having the quality of dhairya. Dhairya here means what? Cheto nirvikarata. Cheto nirvikarata means basically equipoised. Vikara means being transformed. Cheto nirvikarata, consciousness not getting affected, being equipoised, equanimity. Dhairya vritte, the person who has this quality, such a person, dhairya gunaha hi pramarshtum na shakyate. Even during the most difficult times, it is it is not possible. Dhairya gunahi pramarshtum na shakyate. Even during the most difficult times, we cannot destroy the dhairya guna in the dhira purusha. One cannot destroy the dhairya guna in the dhira purusha. And then an example is given. Adho mukasya kritasya api. There is a blazing fire is there. And suppose you put that blazing fire upside down. There is suppose the torch is there. You put the torch upside down. But even though you may put the torch upside down, the fire will not go down. Fire will keep actually burning in the upward direction only. Adho mukasya kritasya api vakshnehe shika. Shika here means jwala. Vakshnehe shika. The flames of the fire. Kadachideva adaha na yati. The flames of the fire, kadachideva adaha na yati, it will never actually go down. So actually this verse talks about how the Dhira Purusha never deviates from his dhairyata, never deviates from his sense of equanimity, even during the most difficult circumstances. That is why it is said that the greatness of a person has to be tested by his ability to tolerate provoking situations. So there are various examples in this regard. This theme also we discussed before also. One of the profound example is Srila Parishit Maharaj. Parishit Maharaj, in the Bhagavatam, the verse comes that sloka. Tammopayatum pratiyantu vipra gange cha devi dhritachitta mich. 1 second. So Parishit Maharaj, when he heard the news that he is going to die within 7 days by the curse of Shringi, by the bite of a Takshaka, that time Parishit Maharaj, he actually exhibits his consciousness. First he says that Aho vayam danyataman nripanam mahattamanugrihaniya shila ragyam kulam brahmana pada shauchad durad visrishtam batagarhya karma. First he says that because at that place so many sages have came and assembled there. He says that we are the most fortunate of all the kings. Mahattamanu grihaniya shila. Because normally all of you sages will keep the royal kings in a very distant place. You will not associate with them. Just like a person goes to pass tool at a distant place from the house previous times. Similarly, you would keep the royal kings at a distant place. But then you have all kindly come to give your association to me. So we are the most fortunate. We are the most grateful. We are the most fortunate. And then he says, Tasyaiva megasya paravaresho vyasakta chittasya griheshva bhikshnam nirveda mulo dvijashaparupo yatra prasakto bhayamashu datte. He says that Tasyaiva me agasya paravaresho vyasakta chittasya griheshva bhikshnam. So because I was attached to my kingdom and household life, in order to make me detached, Nirveda Mulo Dvijashapa Rupo. Krishna has come in my life in the form of this curse of this Dvija, the Brahmana boy. Yatra Prasakto Bayamashu Datte. In order to make me detached from the family life. And then he says that Tammopayatam pratiyantu vipra gange cha devi drita chittamishe dvijopasrishta kuhakastakshako va dashatvalam gayata vishnu gataha. He says that let the snake bird come and bite me. I don't fear about the snake bird. I am a surrendered soul unto the Supreme Lord. And all of you, please accept me in that way. And I only desire that you all continue singing the glories of Krishna. So I don't fear at all about the snake bird. And then finally he tells his aspiration. Punascha bhuyad bhagavatyanante rati prasangascha tadashrayeshu makatsu yam upayami srishtim Maitrascha sarvatra namo dvijebhyah. He says that if I ever have to take birth again in this world, let me have friendship with other devotees, compassion towards the common people, and let me have devotion toward the Supreme Lord. In that way, Parishit Maharaj, even during the most difficult times, he is actually exhibiting his equanimity and his steadfast devotion to Krishna. And this is an example for that. So this Dhira also we had discussed a few times before also, how there are many verses in the scriptures which the term Dhira comes. Previously we had discussed some series of verses where the theme of perseverance came. So, for example, um, second, in the first canto, 13th chapter, Vidura is instructing Dhritarashtra. He talks about Dhira and Narottama. Dhira and Narottama. He explains that Gataswartam imam deham virakto mukta bandhanaha avijnata gatirjahyat savai dhira udakritah. That person is called a dhira who gives up his body which has not been utilized to worship Krishna after rejecting the wealth and sons and going to some place where nobody can find him while practicing bhakti. A person has wasted his life without actually worshipping Krishna. And such a person, the last part of his life, he should just leave his house and then go to some unknown place where nobody can find him and then completely spend his time exclusively in practicing bhakti. Such a person is called as a dhira. Like that, Vidura tells to Dhritarashtra. He is inspiring Dhritarashtra to leave the palace and come along with him go to the forest and practice bhakti. Another place where the word dhira comes. Yayeka varnam tamasaparam tat Alokamavyaktamanantaparam Asam Chakaro Pasuparnamenam Upasate Yogarathena Dhiraha. The eighth canto, this verse comes. We offer respects to the Supreme Lord who is Tamasa Param, who is beyond darkness. Alokam, who is unseen by all the people. Avyaktam, invisible. Ananta Param, beyond the description of the words. And Asam Chakara Pasuparna Menam, who is seated on the Garuda. And Upasade Yoga Radena Dhira, Upasate Yoga Ratena Dhira, whom the yogi seated on his chariot of yoga, Yoga Ratena, whom the yogi seated on his chariot of yoga, who never gives up the worships using the syllable Om. So here the word Dhira refers to that yogi who never gives up the worship of the Lord. Such a yogi worships the Supreme Lord by chanting the syllable Om. So Dhira means one who never gives up the worship of the Lord. One who does not give up the worship. Yeah. Like that, there are other verses also. The Isopanishad, this verse comes that Anya Devahur Vidyaya, Anya Dahur Avidyaya, Iti Shushruma Dhiranam, Yenastat Vishachakshire. The wise, the Dhiras have explained that one result is obtained from the culture of knowledge and that a different result is obtained from the culture of nescience. So like that. Another place, Isopanishad says that Anya Devahur Sambhavat, Anyadahur Asambhavat, Iti Shushruma Dhiranam Yenastat Vishakshere. So Dhira means the undisturbed authorities. What they say? They say that one result is obtained by worshipping the supreme cause of all causes, and another result is obtained by worshipping what is not supreme. And all this is heard from undisturbed authorities who clearly explained it. Because there are some philosophers who say that yato mat tato pat, whatever path you may follow, whomever you worship, ultimately you will get the same result. But the Upanishads say that the undisturbed authorities say that one result is obtained by worshipping the supreme cause, another result is obtained by worshipping that which is not supreme. Like that, the word dhira is used in different places. So here, this verse talks about how it is not possible to obliterate the virtue of constancy, equanimity of a far-minded man, however distressed he may be. Never does the flame turn downwards, even if the torch were held pointing towards the ground. This is the 106th shloka. 107 shloka. Kanta kataksha vishika na lunanti yasya chittam na nirdahati kopa krishani tapah karshanti bhuri vishayarcha na loba pashair lokatrayam jayati kritsnamidam sadhiraha. Again, this verse actually talks about the word dhira. Here the word dhira is spoken about in terms of one who has conquered kama, krodha and lobha. That is the sum and substance of the shloka. Let us read the meaning. So kanta, yasya chittam, one whose consciousness or one whose heart, kanta kataksha vishikaha na lunanti, one whose consciousness is not affected by the sidelong glances of the beloved, sidelong glances of a woman. So kataksha means what? Kantaya means some beautiful women. Kasyachit sundaryaha. Kataksha means netra pranta bhagatah sakutani vilokanan eva. The sidelong glances. Vishikaha. Vishika means the arrows. Lunanti means chindanti, or one whose heart is not pierced by the arrows of the sidelong glances of a woman. And that is the first part. Basically, it refers to kama. And then, yasya chittam should be added for every line. Yasya chittam, kopa krishanu tapaha na nirdahati. That one whose heart na nirdahati, which is not burnt, or which is not nirdahati, which is not burnt by the kopa krishanu tapaha, which is not burnt by the fire of anger. Kopa is the krodha. So krishanu means agni. Krishanu means agni. Tapa means santapaha. Kopa krishanu tapaha na nirdahati. So krodha rupi aag ki aanch nahi jalati. That person whose heart is not burnt by the fire of anger. And then yasya chittam bhuri vishayaha lobha pashaihi na karshanti. That person Karshanti means swabhimukam na kurvanti. Swabhimukam na kurvanti. That means swa abhimukam na kurvanti. One whose heart is not pulled. One whose heart is not pulled by the lobha pashaihi. Lobha is the greed. Pasha, that means lobha eva pashaha. One whose heart is not pulled by the ropes of the greed. Ropes of greed towards bhuri vishayaha. Greed towards the various bhogya vastus, various enjoyable objects. So such a person, saha dhiraha, that person is a dhira. And such a person, idam kritsnam lokatrayam jayati. Such a person actually conquers the entire three worlds. Idam kritsnam lokatrayam jayati. So जिसके चित्त को सुंदर स्त्री के कटाक्ष रूपी बाण घायल नहीं कर देते, क्रोध रूपी आग की आंच नहीं जलाती, तथा नाना प्रकार के विषय लोभ की रस्सियों से नहीं खींचते, वह धीर पुरुष संपूर्ण त्रिलोकी को जीत लेता है. So it's a beautiful shloka. If you see this shloka, this also comes, the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that there are three gates to hell. Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nashanam atmanah kama krodhas tata lobhas tasmat yetatrayam tejet. He says that there are three gates to hell: kama, krodha and lobha. And one must actually, one must conquer these three gates. Therefore, one should give up these three. Kama, krodha, tata, lobha, tasmat yetatrayam tejet. One should actually conquer, one should give up these three. So, if we see few verses about Kama, Krodha and Lobha, again, I discussed many times before. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about Kama. Kama yesha, Krodha yesha, Rajoguna samudbhavaha, Mahashano, Mahapapma, Vidyenam, Iha Vairinam. It is the lust only, Kama, which is arising from Rajoguna. Know this as the greatest devourer, the great sinful one, the enemy. Mahashano, Mahapapma, Vidyenam, Ikavairinam. It is an all devouring enemy. Means like how much ever you may feed this Kama, it will never be satisfied. That is a Mahashana. One cannot extinguish that Kama by giving it what it wants, because it is most voracious. Suppose you take a person to Govindas and you feed him 15 paratas and 10 pizzas and 25 idlis and 15 varieties of ice cream and so many things. After feeding everything, he says, "Aapne to kuch bhi khilaya nahi." That is like the Kama. How much you may feed him, it can never be extinguished. And Mahashano, Mahapapma, it is a very, very evil enemy. One cannot control the Kama by using kind words or by division. Sometimes to control the enemy, we use the four means: Sama, Dama, Danda, Beda. For this enemy of Kama, you cannot speak some sweet words and bring this enemy under control. Or you cannot control this enemy by creating division, Beda, because it is very powerful, Mahapapma. And because it is very powerful, it forces a person to engage even in forbidden acts by making a person lose one's sense of discrimination. So therefore, it is an enemy. Know that it is an enemy even in giving into its demands. So you cannot by Sama, Dama and Beda you cannot actually control this enemy. The only way is by danda. And Krishna explains it later. So it's about the kama. And about the krodha. Krodha also, there are various verses about the krodha. There's one shloka in Ramayana which says that Kruddha papam na kuryat kaha Kruddho hanyat gurunapi Kruddha parushasya vacha narasadun adikshipet vachya vachyam prakupito na vijanati karihichit. Which angry person does not commit forbidden acts? They all certainly do. An angry person may even end up killing one's own guru, or may end up censuring saintly souls using harsh words. An angry person does not understand what should be spoken and what should not be spoken. So the anger basically arises from ichha and dvesha. A person wants something, but there is an obstacle to attain that. When he is unable to remove the obstacle, one becomes angry. Or a person does not want a particular object, but some obstacle is forcing him to attain that object, or forcing him to attain that situation, but he is not able to remove that obstacle. At that time one becomes angry. So about preventing krodha, Srimad Bhagavatam says that asankalpat jayet kamam krodam kama vivarjanat. So first one should overcome the kama by giving up the mental resolve that caused the desire, asankalpat. How one should overcome the kama? By asankalpa, by giving up the mental resolve. Sankalpa means you made a decision to attain that. By giving up that mental resolve, one should overcome the kama. And then by giving up the kama, one should overcome the anger. Because the root cause of krodha is the kama. Another place, Rupa Goswami says that alabdeva vinashteva bhakshasyachadana sadhane aviklava matir bhutva harimyeva diyasmaret. When desirable objects are not obtained or are lost after obtaining, then a sadhaka should remember Hari without being disturbed at mind. In that way, he is giving a solution, remembrance of the Lord for overcoming the krodha. So, lobha also, there may be other verses. If we see kama, krodha and lobha, these three gates to hell, in the Uddhava Gita, 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, Krishna speaks three Gitas, Aila Gita, Bhikshu Gita and Pingala Gita. Aila Gita is the song sung by Pururava. Bhikshu Gita is the song sung by the Avanti Brahmana, 23rd chapter, 11th canto. Avaduta Brahmana. And then there is the Pingala Gita, the song sung by the prostitute. So these three songs, if you see, all these three songs, they actually speak about this theme of Kama, Krodha and Lobha. Because in the case of Pururava, he was completely overcome by the desire for the Kama towards Urvashi. And then finally, Pururava's story is a very long story, but then Krishna gives the realizations of Pururava in the Aila Gita. So Pururava speaks about how when a person becomes enamored by the Kama, what happens. Such a person does not actually understand how the time is passing by. He says that for so many years, I was just, I did not even see the sunrise and sunset. because I was just sleeping all the time. I would be awake in the night time and I would be sleeping in the daytime. Uh, and then when we speak about, when we see the Bhikshu Gita, the Avadut Brahmana story, Avadut Brahmana was a very greedy person. He was very miserly. He would not spend his money at all. Later, he lost all his wealth and everyone rejected him. Some people would came and actually passed urine at him, or some people would take away his begging part. Like that, people actually dealt in a very insulting manner. But at that time, the Avaduta Brahmana speaks that Bhikshu Gita, very profound shlokas. Krishna himself is actually telling a story. So how he was not affected, he could have been affected by the Krodha, but he was not affected by the Krodha. And then when we see the Pingala story also, Pingala for whole night she was looking for the customers. So usually when a person desiring, looking for the customers to attain money, and then he didn't get the customers, she could have become angry. But then at that time, a deep sense of renunciation arose in her mind, and then she speaks her realizations. So these three sections in the Bhagavatam, they talk about the overcoming Kama, Krodha, and Lobha. And even the Upadeshamrita, Rupa Goswami says, so this verse says that one who overcomes the Kama, Krodha, and Lobha, such a person conquers the three worlds. Rupa Goswami says that Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jihva Vegam, Udarupasto Vegam, Etan Vegan Yo Vishaheta Dira, Sarvamapi Mam Prithivim Sa Shishyat. That sober individual, Dira, who tolerates these urges, the urge of the speech, Vacho Vega, the urge of the mind, Krodha Vega, the urge of anger, Jihva Vegam, the urge of the tongue, the urges of the belly and sex organs, can potentially instruct even this entire earth. Sarvam apimam prithivim sa shishyat. Potentially instruct even this entire earth. So Rupa Goswami, we can see the shloka, although he comes in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, the disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but the book he has written, it is not a Sampradaya specific. It is meant for a person from any Sampradaya. Because he's not, he's saying, he's just talking about a very general thing. One who conquers the six urges, one who tolerates the six urges, such a sober person can potentially instruct the entire earth. He can make the whole world as his disciple. So in that way, his book is it's not sampradaya specific. It is a very universal message for a person from any sampradaya. So this verse also similar. One who overcomes kama, krodha, and lobha, he actually conquers the he can lokatrayam jayati. He actually conquers the entire three worlds. We'll go to the next shloka. Yekenapi hi shurena पादाक्रान्तं महीतलं क्रियते भास्करेणैव स्पारस्फुरिततेजसा. So this shloka talks about Shuraha Purushaha Sarvanapi Damayitum Shaknoti Atyudaharanena Dhridi Karoti. A Shura Purusha, a very bold and courageous person, he can actually bring everyone under the control. That is explained with an example, simple example. So he means certainly, nissandeham, without a doubt. Sparas spurita tejasa. See the last line, sparas spurita tejasa. Sparam means bahulam. Spuritam means vikasitam. Tejasa means by the prakasha. Sparaspurita Tejasa. That means he Sparaspurita Tejasa Bhaskarena Iva. So, the example of a sun is given. Sun has a Tejas, the effulgence, which is Spurita, which is all pervading. Spara, which is extensive. So the sun, there is only one sun in the entire Brahmanda, but this one sun, by its Spurita Tejasa, by its sun rays, which goes through the entire Brahmanda, which is so expansive, the sun actually gives light to the entire Brahmanda. It brings the entire Brahmanda under its control, like that. Similarly, Yekena Shurena Api Mahitalam Padakrantam Kriyate. Yekena Shurena Api. Just like it's not that we have many suns for each planet. One sun is actually giving light. It is actually illuminating the entire planet. Similarly, Yekena Shurena Api. Even if there is one very powerful, courageous person is there, Mahitalam Padakrantam Kriyate. He can actually bring the entire world under his control. Padakrantam. Padakrantam means what? Padakrantam means Padabhyam Vyaptam Garshitascha Kriyate. So, Vistrita Tata Deepta Prakasha Wale Surya ki Bhanti केवल एक वीर पुरुष भी पृथ्वी तल को पादाक्रांत कर देता है. सूर्य किरणों से सारी पृथ्वी को व्याप्त कर लेता है और वीर पुरुष लोगों को अपने चरणों से दबाता अर्थात वश में कर लेता है. So this how like sometimes we have the democracy system. It is in the democracy, the country is ruled. There is one prime minister, but still it is ruled by the council of ministers. There are so many. Like sometimes the government passes something, and then that decision is questioned, and then it goes to Supreme Court, and then another Supreme Court. This one, there are multiple authorities are there. Therefore, even if sometimes the government decides something, central government and the state government, they say that, oh, we will not give permission for CBI investigation. And state government, they allow certain crimes to happen. So many things are there. Like the whole structure is that it's not a monarchical system. But in the monarchical system, it's under one king. But of course, with that one king is very powerful, is properly trained, then he can bring, even if there are thousands of thieves in the country, he can bring them under control. This analogy is also given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Khaler dosha nide rajan yastyeko mahan gunaha kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. Shukadeva Goswami says to Parikshit, my dear King Parikshit, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this Kali Yuga. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the holy names of Krishna, one can become free from the material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. There are ocean of faults, but this one good quality of Kali Yuga, by being attached to that, one can become free from the material bondage. So in this purport, the analogy is given. Just as one powerful king can kill innumerable thieves, similarly, one brilliant spiritual quality, Nama Sankirtan, can destroy all the contamination of this age. It is impossible to overestimate the importance of chanting the holy names of the Lord, especially in this fallen age. It is impossible to overestimate. So, this verse, of course, another another thing we see last week, we was having discussion in some other group. So there was one point we just mentioned how even when the gods come in this world, even when the Supreme Lord comes to this world, although alone he can accomplish everything, but still he collaborates with others to accomplish his mission. Lord Ram collaborated himself with Wali. He made a pact with Wali. He made a pact with Shugriva. He said that I will get back your kingdom and wife, and you help me in getting back my wife. Ram could actually do it alone on his own. This verse talks about just the holy name of Ram, Krishna. It can actually nullify the ocean of qualities of Kali Yuga. But still, Ram, in his practical life, he collaborated with Shugriva. He collaborated with the different monkey soldiers. All these monkeys were different devatas who appeared as monkeys. He collaborated with the devatas. Krishna, when Krishna was asked by the Brahma that birth is overburdened with the demoniac population. So Lord Krishna said that I am already aware of this problem. I am going to appear very soon in order to remove the burden of the earth. But all of you devatas must also appear in order to assist me. You must all appear in the different dynasties of Vrishni, Andaka, Bhoja dynasty. In that sense, Krishna also, in one sense, collaborated with the different devatas. And he can do alone, but then Lord actually likes to engage others also in the mission of establishing Dharma. He engaged the devatas who all appeared in their amshas as the Pandavas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he told Advaita Acharya had called me to this world. But then go and call Advaita Acharya. Now I am going to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement. He must also participate in the Sankirtan movement. And Mahaprabhu said that there are so many fruits of love of God in the marketplace. I am actually a single person. How much I can distribute alone? I need the help of so many people. He also, he actually collaborated. He engaged other devotees. But again, this shloka is speaking from another point of view that how there is just one sun is sufficient to illuminate the entire universe. Similarly, there is one powerful king. He can actually rule he can bring the entire earth under his control. Padakrantam mahitalam kriyate. So that is the theme of this shloka. Last two shlokas. I'll just Vakhnistasya jalayate jalanidhi कुल्यायते तत्क्षणात् मेरुस्वल्पशिलायते मृगपति सद्यः कुरंगायते व्यालो माल्यगुणायते वृषरस पीयूषवर्षायते यस्यांगे किल लोकवल्लभतमम् शीलं samunmilati. So what is the theme of this shloka? So this shloka speaks about sakala sampadana samarte naikaina shilena sakala sampadana samartena ekena shilena gunena manushyo vismayakaranyapि karyani kartum parayati iti vishadīkaroti. So this verse talks about the importance of the shila, the good conduct or good behavior. The shila has the capacity to earn all the great wealth in this world. Sakala Sampadana Samartha. Sakala Sampadana Samartha Samarthena Ekena Shilena Gunena. By this one quality of Shila, but good behavior, good conduct, one is capable of earning all the Aishwarya of this world. And he can also accomplish astonishing activities. Manushyo Vismaya Karanyapi Karyani. He can perform some astonishing activities just by Shila. So let us understand the shloka. Yasya Ange, so last line, Yasya Ange, Akhila Loka Vallabhatamam Sheelam Samunmilati. That means सारे मनुष्यों का अभीष्टतम सदाचार जिस पुरुष के शरीर में विराजमान है, यस्य अंगे, इन हुज बॉडी, अखिल लोक वल्लभतमम, अखिल लोक वल्लभतमम, लाइक सारे मनुष्यों का अभीष्टतम, सबसे अधिक प्यारा सदाचार, जिसके पास अखिल लोक वल्लभतमम शीलम समुन्मीलति. Samunmilati means आकारांगेतिताभिः सर्वतः प्रकाशते. जिस पुरुष के शरीर में विराजमान है. Then what is the such a person can perform astonishing activities. What are the astonishing activities he can perform? That is listed in the shloka. Vakshnihi jalayate. Vakshnihi jalayate. That means उसके लिए आग पानी हो जाती है. In front of him, even the fire can turn into water. Vakshnihi jalayate. Jalanidhihi tat kshanat kulyayate. Jalanidhihi means the ocean. Ocean can at once can turn into a kulyayate, a rivulet, or ocean can at once can dried up, at once can become dried up in front of such a person. Meruhu swalpa shilayate. Meru mountain can become a small stone in front of such a person who has such a exemplary behavior. Mrigapatihi sadhyaha kurangayate. Mrigapatihi refers to a lion. Lion can become like a sadhyaha kurangayate. That means Singha turant hiran ho jate hai. Hiran ho jata hai. Singha becomes like a small deer. And then Vyalaha malya gunayate. A serpent can become a garland for him. Tata visharasaha piyusha varshayate. The poison can actually can turn into nectar. So this verse basically glorifies the importance of good conduct, good quality, one who possesses such a good quality. So maybe I'll just read one small section from the Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday also in one function, said this a verse, beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyah sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvan apina lipyate. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Although always working, such a man is never entangled. So this verse talks about the Shila from the point of view of pure Krishna consciousness. Such a person, so one who is on the path of liberation by Krishna consciousness, is very dear to every living being. And every living being is dear to him. Sarva bhutatma bhutatma. This is due to his Krishna consciousness. Such a person cannot think of any living being as separate from Krishna, just as the leaves and branches of a tree are not separate from the tree. He knows very well that by pouring water on the root of the tree, the water will be distributed to all the leaves and branches, or by supplying food to the stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. Because one who works in Krishna consciousness is servant to all, is very dear to everyone. And because everyone is satisfied by his work, he is pure in consciousness. Because he is pure in consciousness, his mind is completely controlled. And because his mind is controlled, his senses are also controlled. Because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, there is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna, nor is there a chance that he will engage his senses in matters other than the service of the Lord. So like that, the beautiful purport goes. This verse actually glorifies the Sheela. So last shloka, we are already late actually. लज्जागुणौ गजननीं जननीमिव स्वाम् अत्यन्तशुद्धहृदयामनुवर्तमानान् तेजस्विनः सुखमसूनपि सन्त्यजन्ति सत्यव्रतव्यसिनोनिनो न पुनः प्रतिज्ञाम्. So this shloka talks about actually truthfulness. प्राणापणेनापि तेजस्विनः स्वां प्रतिज्ञां पालयन्ति इत्येवं चरम वक्तव्यम्. Even when about to die, one does not, a tejasvina, a great person will never deviate from following the satya. Will never deviate from observing his vow. That is explained here. So satyavratavya saninaha. Satyavratavya saninaha. That means satya bhashanameva vratam. Yavat vyasanam. So that person who has taken the vow of following truthfulness, satya vratavya saninaha, tejasvinaha, such a tejasvina person. Tejasvin here means what? Prabhava gunashalinaha purushaha. Prabhava gunashalinaha purushaha. सत्य पालन में लगे हुए तेजस्वी पुरुष. Such a person asoon api sukam santyjanti. Asoon api sukam santyjanti. That means such a person प्राणों को भी सुखपूर्वक त्याग देते हैं. He is ready to even give up his life. Asoon api sukam. He will be happily give up even his entire life. But he will not give up his vow of truthfulness. And that is explained further. Lajja gunauga jananim. Lajja gunauga jananim. Lajja gunauga jananim means lajja gunaha. Lajja gunaha. Lajja gunaha. Vogaha. Voga means pravaha. Jananim utpadikam. So किंतु लज्जा संकोच रूपी गुणों के समूह को पैदा करने वाली. So when a person does not follow truthfulness, such a suppose when a person is unable to fulfill his vows, then a tejasvi person, he becomes actually ashamed because of unable to fulfill his vow. So that is why लज्जा संकोच रूपी गुणों के समूह को पैदा करने वाली. लज्जा गुणौगा उत्पादिकाम. लज्जा गुणौगा जननीम. So when a person is unable to follow truthfulness, it actually gives rise to the qualities like lajja. Lajja Gunauga Jananim Atyanta Shuddha Hridayam Anuvartamanam Tvam Jananim Iva Pratigyam Punaha Na Santyajanti. So, following truthfulness, it actually makes the heart very pure. Atyanta Shuddha Hridayam. It actually gives a purity to the heart. And that quality of truthfulness, maintaining one's vows, it is like a mother only. It is like a mother. So, therefore, a Tejasvi Purusha, he will never give up the quality of truthfulness, which is like a mother, which actually, when not followed, it gives rise to the qualities like lajja. It makes a person ashamed. So therefore, he will even happily even give up his life, but he will not give up he will not give up his pratigya. So this verse talks about that. सत्य पालन में लगे हुए तेजस्वी पुरुष प्राणों को भी सुखपूर्वक त्याग देते हैं, किंतु लज्जा संकोच रूपी गुणों के समूह को पैदा करने वाली अत्यंत निर्मल हृदय तथा निर्मल हृदय तथा भाव वाली और रक्षण करने वाली तथा साथ रहने वाली अपनी माता के तुल्य प्रतिज्ञा को नहीं छोड़ते. This is in the last shloka, he is actually speaking about the importance of truthfulness. So I will conclude with the shloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So when Krishna was in the womb of Devaki, that time all the devatas come to actually offer prayers to Krishna. And they begin their prayers by saying, Satyavratam Satyaparam Trisatye, Satyavratam Satyaparam Trisatyam, Satyasya Yonim Nihitam Cha Satye, Satyasya Satyam Rita Satya Netram, Satyatmakam Tvam Sharanam Prapanna. So here Krishna is called by the word Satya. He is called a Satyavrata because he never deviates from his vow. And he is called a Satya Param because he is the absolute truth. Satya Param. He is the absolute truth. Satya Param. He is the topmost truth. Satya Param. That is why the Bhagavatam begins with Satyam Param Dhimahi. Three Satyam. That means he is always present as the absolute truth. In the past, present, and the future. Before the creation, during maintenance, and even after annihilation. Three Satyam. Satyasya Yonim. That means he is the cause, or he is the one who gives birth, or he is the source of all the relative truths of this world. He is the source of all the relative truths. And Nihitam Cha Satye. Nihitam Cha Satye. And that Krishna, he enters into everything in this world. He enters into every atom in this world. Nihitam Cha Satye. Satye means here refers to all the Pancha Mahabhuta, all the elements of Pancha Mahabhuta, having entered the different all the Pancha Mahabhuta, he is the source of all the relative truths. And Satyasya Satyam, of all that is accepted as the truth, he is the original truth. Satyasya Satyam. Rita Satya Netram, he is the origin of whatever truth is pleasing. Rita Satya Netram, whatever is a pleasing truth in this world, he is the origin of that. Satyatmakam, everything pertaining to that absolute truth is truth only. That means his form is a truth. His form is not illusion. His pastimes are not some illusion. His pastimes are a truth. The knowledge about him is a truth. His abode is a truth. Satyatmakam. Tvam Sharanam Prapanna. So therefore, we all actually fully surrender to that absolute truth. So therefore, truthfulness, we can speak from a general moral point of view. There are many people, maybe even from moral point of view, many people may practice truthfulness. But ultimately, truthfulness, the highest definition of truthfulness is that to act in such a way, or to think in such a way, to speak in such a way by which the super soul within the heart is pleased. That is the highest way by which we can practice truthfulness. So in this way, Bhartrhari is actually concluding his Niti Shataka by glorifying the truthfulness. Hare Krishna. So today we are concluding the Bhartrhari's Niti Shataka. We discussed the last 5 shlokas. We discussed how the Dhira Purusha, even during the difficult times, he does not give up his equanimity. Just like the blazing fire, even it is kept down, it will keep, it will not actually go towards the downward direction. It will keep actually burning in the upward direction. The one who conquers Kama, Krodha and Lobha, he conquers the entire 3 worlds. And then just like one sun actually illuminates the entire universe, even one powerful hero can actually bring the entire world under his control. And then we discussed how the Sheela, good conduct, good behavior, is such a powerful virtue that he can perform such astonishing tasks. In front of him, the ocean can become a rivulet, can get dried up, or fire can turn into water. That means how the Sheela, good conduct, good behavior is something. Good behavior, good conduct, essence of good conduct is that Sarva Bhutatma, Yoga Yukta Vishuddhatma, Vijitatma Jitendriya, Sarva Bhutatma. Essence of good conduct is that that person becomes dear to everyone and everyone becomes dear to him. This is the highest quality of good conduct. Everyone becomes dear to him and he is dear to everyone. And this is possible when a person engages in pure devotional service, because that is the second characteristic of bhakti is Shubhada. Bhakti gives all auspiciousness. And one of the characteristics of auspiciousness is that one becomes dear to everyone and everyone becomes dear to him. And in the last shloka, he glorifies the quality of truthfulness. How a truthful person never gives up is a vow, is pratigya, even during he will happily give up even his life, but he will not give up this pratigya. So I want to express my gratitude to all of you for almost 40 classes. We began somewhere in the beginning of the year. We could go through all these shlokas. I attended this course on Niti Shataka a few years back. So the course was in Sanskrit every day. Just explaining the shloka just in 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 7 minutes. On each verse of Niti Shataka, the one course was conducted. So I attended that course, but after that course, I was like very impressed by the profound shlokas. Although the shlokas are related to general Niti, of course, it is meant for everyone. But but I felt that this can be connected with many shlokas in the Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata. I was thinking that I'll take up this course. There was one friend of mine who actually asked me 4 or 5 times, when are you starting this course? When are you starting this course? Then I started this course, but then somehow he didn't. He attended only the first 2 sessions. After that, he never attended. But it was a challenge go through all these sessions. But thank you very much for attending these sessions, so that we could go through these shlokas. If anybody has any wants to share anything, they can share.
Thanks a lot, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
So do you plan to take any other course, Prabhuji, after this?
After this, not a thought. Not thought. I have some things in mind. I want to do something more for the children. In case if I start some other course, I will let you know. I will inform the group. Currently, I have not decided.
Can we continue
Prabhuji, keep the
Bhagavatam, sir, which you are putting the link? Can we continue to listen to it? Because you put it in this link, no?
The same link, yes. All the classes are uploaded, the playlist. Currently, the same Zoom link is only using.
Prabhuji, if you are taking any other class also, please put the details of it in this group only so that even we can get to know about it.
Yeah, I will inform. I will mention in the details in the course.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. So we will stop here. There are no more comments. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.